Good morning, all. Sorry, none of you will be able to speak just yet. I'm just going to unmute everybody if you wanted to be able to speak. And we're just waiting for the presenter to join us. Can't see her there. Oh, waiting in the lobby. There we go. Hi, Samantha. How are you?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Sorry, so we've just jumped over from our first session for the day, and you're our last session for the day, which is nice and simple today. We already have a number of people online, so thank you for joining us, everybody. I just want to introduce Samantha Clark from, now, do I say the whole name? Is it Advice RegTech SAMI?
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Thank you.
Or internally, we're just referring to it as SAMI, which makes it nice and easy. And it's an acronym.
Supervision and monitoring intelligence.
There you
SAMI's
go.
easier.
There you go. So as you know, so from our last PD day, we spoke about bringing SAMI on board, and we've gone through that process, and we've been working closely with Samantha and her team to get our kind of the documents that you are using to be mapped into the system so that we're picking up the right things through the system. Now, this system is really from the AFSL perspective, but it does your auditing. This is where we'll be running your auditing through, as well as some of those other elements that we look after for you. Things like your conflicts of interest register and some of that other management at that side. I'm going to hand over to Samantha. With the auditing system, it's something that we will run you through individually as you come through your audits, but it's really good to get an understanding of what the system looks like and how you'll be able to manage your way through this. It makes sure that your audits are very transparent for you. You'll be able to refer back to them when you need to, and it'll make it clear what those action items are for each of you as we go through, if you require action items. So I'm going to hand over to Samantha now to run us through. Thanks, Sam.
Great, thank you. I will just share my screen, and if you could let me know when that comes up.
Got it. Yep.
Fantastic. All right. So thank you guys. And ladies, it's really exciting that we're now at the stages where the SAMI system has been implemented. So I should say that this is a system that is in-house for you. So the information doesn't go any further than Carolyn and of course the integrity team. So we're not required, and well, I guess unless by law, but we haven't so far been required to send it any further. So it's the way that you get your file reviews and your incidents and events and just AFSL management and compliance emails all within house to help demonstrate, if ever needed, that there is active monitoring and supervision internally within integrity, and so it'll tick all the boxes. So just know that anything you're writing in the system is, yes, you should be cognizant it is record keeping that could go externally only if Carolyn needs to send that external. But it's actually, in our experience, we've been going for about 7 or 8 years now, serving many of Australia's largest AFSLs, from the super funds to independent advisors like yourselves. And so far, so good. Any time that ASIC has ever asked questions of people in Carolyn's role about the system, it's been a very quick head nod, quick look see, and everything seems to be in order. So this is your system to use effectively internally and to demonstrate all the good work that you're doing. It also demonstrates good advice, and you'll find that your hopefully your understanding and skills around compliance and requirements and all of the changing regulations will just naturally osmose anyway, because the types of questions and areas that Caroline and team are picking up is current with the current regulations. So I should say what I might do, and we might be able to cover this earlier than the time slot, Caroline, and I'm happy for questions, because what we'll be doing is when each of you are going to get your own audits, then I'll be available, or my team members will be available to help onboard you at that time and if there's any questions. So what I might do is, and we've got this slide deck that we can make available to if you need, but I'll very quickly jump into the real system so you can see what it's all about. So this system is being used by Integrity for advice file reviews. It also enables you to collaborate efficiently with the workflow. So there's a in-app chat, which enables you to have a chat back and forth with Caroline if there's any actions. It also automatically does the governance reporting, and it's actually, we get really good feedback because chances are your reviews will be really good, I expect. And so it's a lot of A grade and B grade, which is good compared to E grade performance. And so all of those charts and the trends of your review scores over time are tracked, and it's really satisfying, and you'll have access to that as well, I understand. So you'll be able to see your own dashboard. And so it's quite satisfying, actually, with the feedback we get from advisors. Also, the system enables the lodgement of, or the capture and then the lodgement by Caroline each 6 months of the complaints reporting, as well as the registers, or, normal AFSL registers, conflicts of interest, and so on. So we can run through each of those individually for you in turn when we have our one-on-one sessions with you. But for today, it's all about helping you understand how the audit flow will go. Before I do that, I just want to give you a quick look-see on the how to navigate in SAMI. So on the left-hand side here, when you get access to SAMI, and we'll give you access just before your first audits come through, so it's nice and relevant and easy. There'll be the dashboard there. There's also reporting tables, reviews, and cases. Cases is the main area that you'll be focused on because that's where your reviews will come through in a case format that enables workflow chats to be really efficient, and I'll cover that in a moment. If there's any incidents to raise, incidents could be, of course, complaints or reportable events. I can touch on how that's covered today if there's time, but we'll focus firstly on cases. And of course, the AFSL. So emails may come to you from SAMI support or Integrity, linking you back to the SAMI system, and that's where certain compliance emails and so on might come as well. When you're on the system, this is probably the key thing to remember once you get up and running with it, is if you've got any questions, down the bottom here, we've got the help center, and you can just shoot an email, not about compliance matters, but about, SAMI system matters if there's ever an issue with logins, straight to the SAMI email. We've also got a help center here that will give you a bit of in-app training. And the first time you come into the system, in cases, you'll be able to get an automatic, and let me just show you this, automatic tour of the page. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click this, and it shows, this is the case screen that you'll get. So you'll get an email from SAMI, and SAMI will say, congratulations, Amanda, you've had your file review. Please come in to review the actions and the comments and the grades, and it'll land you on a screen like this after you log in with two-factor authentication. So this is a total hypothetical case. I'm not using real integrity data here to protect any information. So everything's all about data security for us. Hypothetical advisor Noel Edison here, the reviewer Joe Black, and the reviewer comments you'll see in this top area of the screen. If Carolyn has written any comments there, you'll see that top. You'll also see that there's actions, 1 of 2 actions to complete, and there might be a few risks here that automatically flag up. All right, we've covered the demo there. Then scrolling down the page, the next thing you'll see on your case screen is file reviews. So in your case, it'll be audits, not pre-vets, I understand, unless of course you're on a pre-vet program because you're a new advisor with the group. But most of these will be audits, and there might be a number of audits in your file reviews here, and you'll be able to instantly see the overall grade. And don't worry about the D grade. Most grades are in the A and B range, and a percentage out of 100. How does that grade come about. So there's a question set that Caroline and CJ work through for you. You don't need to worry about all the detailed questions, but what they'll do is this will automatically be filtered. So whatever an issue is, it will automatically come up in the blue text. So when you're in the system, just look for blue text and it'll get you quickly to the issue. So in this hypothetical example, the goals needed to be SMART, and you'll see a yellow checkbox there, which is just to be ticked off once you've updated whatever is required by the certain action. All right, so this is the action and coaching plan, the most important part of your screen. So, and it's really all there is to this, and beyond this, it's just the workflow. So you'll have your actions here. There'll be actions marked with whatever the summary is. The blue notes, of course, will be the details of the action. If you need to, you'll be able to easily click through again on anything blue to the detailed review questions and the documents. Chances are you might not have to, but if you want to, that's how you get back to the review. And you see this add comment bubble here. Just be able to chat in here relevant text around the actions. So nice and simple. Just look for anything that's blue or yellow and it'll get to where you need to do. Then once you've done your actions, you go to the workflow task stage, which is just below the actions table. And you click this button, Advisor Actions Complete. The next button will pop up and then you progress that, just click that and progress it through. So it's as simple as that. So let me show you again, just quickly. You'll get an email. It'll come to this case screen. You scroll pretty well straight away down to the action and coaching plan. Have a look at what you need to do. When you tick an action, you'll see it goes green and it just pops to the bottom. So if for some reason you have, say, 10 actions, unlikely, usually it's just about 3 or 4, it'll just keep the actions to do right up the top of the table here. Let's say on this one you want to add a comment first. Add comment here and click add comment. And then when you're ready to, it might be that you can't do something yet, so you leave that action open, you acknowledge they're complete, and it may be that the actions will automatically block. So if that's the case, it'll require you to do something on those actions. And great, the review is closed there. So nice and simple. In your case, the review will go back to Carolyn, I understand, to close. So you'll just see it's been progressed through to the next area. So I might pause there if there's any questions.
Samantha, can you just talk through the scoring system and how that's been kind of put together?
Yes, really good question. So what I've done here, just so you know, I've gone into the review screen. So this is the workbench where Carolyn and CJ will do their reviews of the files. So there'll be various documents in here. So to get back to the case, I'll just click to there. To get back to the review, I'll just click to here. So you can see on this particular file review, it's a 29% score. And that's shown up the top here. And that's based on the number of questions that might have been not compliant or partially complete. So if we wanted to look at the not compliant questions, we'll just click on that circle. And you can see that in this particular hypothetical example, this has failed. The score on this is 410. So kind of like a driver's license. So you know how we've got like 12 points, and as you lose a demerit point, then it'll go down. SAMI works the same. So it starts with 1,000 points, perfect A grade score, and 410, of course, is a 41% demerit. And that's what's taken it down. There'll also be this one as well, which is a 300-point demerit. So in this case, it's a partial complete question. And if I was to make these questions green, you'll see up here the minus, this review's locked. Sorry, I'll just unlock it so I can demonstrate this. As the questions become yes. So it might be that you're having a coaching session with, or maybe even a pre-session with Carolyn perhaps, and there might be a reason to unlock and correct some of these scores. So in doing that, just a matter of Carolyn will click it to yes. All of a sudden, you'll see there's more compliance and the grade has automatically gone up to 59%. So each individual question has different demerits. So for here, this is 410. Let me just make that yes. And in this one, for example, if that question had failed, it would be -60. So a 6% fail on that. And as you can see, the score there has changed to 94%. So some questions, as you'd imagine, if they're big regulatory questions related to best interest duty, appropriate advice, key record keeping requirements from Code of Ethics, then they'll have a higher demerit score than some of the others.
And
Is
sorry,
that helpful?
yeah, so what's that methodology behind, why is it -60? Why is it -410? How's that being calculated behind the scenes?
Yeah, well, that's it can be adapted if need be. So if you all feel strongly, then let Caroline know about certain demerits on certain points. But it's been developed over time from uh, eight years reading all the regulatory guides, seeing what the most severe items are from an ASIC's perspective, and if something's a Corporations Act requirement, 961(2)(b)(g), for example, in these best interest duty areas. So you'll find that all of these 961(b) items are the highest demerits. So for example, here, if I make this no on all of these, oh, this is an example where I should make that higher. So that will be guided by that. This is as different in the demo site to normal. If you are ever wondering why Caroline or CJ might have marked something down, we've got these hover notes here on any question. So when you're in your case screen, you just click on whatever the relevant line is for the review. That will get you into this screen. Then you can click on the not compliant, go to the area, and you'll see on any question, you'll see the score, the demerit, the risk tags, and these hover notes. So if it's around subject matter, you'll be able to see, well, the regulatory guide in this area says this about subject matter, and that's why it's important. So if you need to address something, then Carolyn, of course, will cover that off, and there'll be notes in here. Notes in here about any question, and you'll be able to read that there. There may be an action in here that she's done. I'm just picking a example one here. Don't worry, you guys won't need to know how to do this. This is all oops, case locked. Sorry. I'll have to go to case and unlock that. Learning how this works behind the scenes, guys. But this is a good example as well, that if a case is completed, then you or Caroline can't make changes unless there's a good reason to unlock it, and she'll have the permissions to unlock and do that. Let me just pop back here. So it's in the bid. So as you'll see here, there's different action types as well. So sometimes you'll get remedial if it's an audit. If it happens to be a pre-vet or just a smaller issue, you might get corrective or coaching or a best practice. So some of the actions you'll see are more major than others. So if you see remedial or corrective, of course, or if it's a complaint review as well, I'd suggest getting onto those really quickly. All right. So what you'll also have in the actions and your cases is you'll get emails to come into this case, and then you'll be given normally 7 days to do an action. But we can set this also behind the scenes, Caroline. You can change the action due dates. But if ever you need a little bit more time to do the actions, again, I'd suggest communicating back with the case owner, who would normally be Caroline or CJ, I imagine, and they'll be tracked. And I'll show you why it's really important to do actions on time. I'm just back to the demonstration screen here. What we've got is in the dashboard here, you'll be able to see that all the actions are tracked. So if actions are overdue, you'll be able to see how many are done overdue and how many are done on time. So it's really good to, I guess, have, because most of your actions, of course, will be done on time. You just know that all that good work is being tracked. Same with the, sorry, let me go back to the demonstration case here. Same with your compliance performance over time. You'll see that the average compliance scores of all of integrity will be there, and I'm going to pick one. Hopefully this will work. Let me choose a different advisor. And I'll just choose over time. All right, so this is an example in the black line. This is hypothetical, hypothetical compliance performance over time. And if you get low scores at first, don't worry, that's actually a good thing. It shows that there's improvement over time. And it's, as I said right at the beginning, it's an internal system. So it's all about coaching and improvement for your benefit and for your client's benefit. It's not don't stress if you get low grades at first, because it's quite common to have the lower grades, and very quickly you'll see that by listening to the advice that Carolyn puts on there, it'll increase. So this is an example where hypothetical advisor will be benchmark against the average scores. So you'll find that if for some reason there's a few months where you're falling below average, then you'll be able to see why. You'll be able to go down to your risk dashboard here, and you can go, okay, well, it's document related, and it's around, for example, scoping concerns or inconsistency or incomplete documents, and so, or misalignment of risk profile, and that'll be really easy to rectify as you go forward in your reviews, and you'll see a nice benchmark uplift over time.
And this sort of information also helps us to identify where those areas are that you need some more guidance in and some more coaching in as a licensee, so we can then tailor some specific sessions around those elements.
And yeah, spot on. Thank you, Caroline. And overall, you'll see that, let's say there's certain things that are bubbling up. So across all the reviews over, a year's time, it might be that the goals, for example, are not specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely, or it might be around scoping. So Caroline will have a really good overview of, well, what is it that the licensee needs to do better to serve you. So is it more training? Is it better templates? Is it certain guidance on certain areas? If there's a thematic area that's coming up that a lot of advisors are struggling with across the group. So it's really helpful to make sure that the training is really relevant for you as well. And good to know that you're part of a really good group that actually uplifts this area over time. I should say right up front, the SAMI system is not the feedback we get. It's not about being a system that's a burdensome compliance system. It's designed to streamline compliance and make it really easy for you. So from your experience of it, you'll come into the case screen. Your screen will look, your home screen will at the beginning look something like this, nice and empty. You'll have your cases on your home screen, might be one or two cases. You'll have any actions listed easily on the home screen as well. You'll be able to click straight into those to bring up the case and any reviews. So it's all designed to be simple. So what I showed you today is all the detail under the your case. So that's all the good work that CJ and Caroline are doing. But from your perspective, you'll be able to see a nice simple case screen. What are your actions? You'll be able to attend to those, and then you'll be able to see in your dashboard the good performance over time. Incidents, I should say as well, if there's any incidents to lodge, and we'll cover this when we have the one-on-ones with you as well. But in the first instance, of course, any complaints, keep talking to Caroline about how they're lodged in the system here by Caroline. But I expect over time you might be given permission as you're onboarded to add your own complaints into the system, which enables you to upload any files and information. That's in this incident screen area here. I'll just go to the demo site. So you'll see that in the alert there, you'll see incidents, there's a complaints, and to add anything in SAMI where you've given permission, you just see the plus button. It'll bring up a nice simple wizard that enables you it'll populate with your name, and then you just work through the case information, incident details, complaint information, and complaint details. It'll just step you through next step, next step, next step through those 4 screens. Really nice and simple to lodge your information. And the beauty of this is that it's ASIC compatible. So when it's time for Caroline to do her 6-monthly upload to ASIC, she can see everything in a nice ASIC compatible way and upload that directly into that ASIC portal when it's ready. So again, be cognizant of the fact that when you're writing anything in the incidents complaints area, that that of course will be visible to Caroline, but the coded items that go through to ASIC around what type of complaint it is and is it related to a product and what's the reason and the cause and so on, all of that information in both complaints and reportable events ultimately will end up in the ASIC portal, different to your cases, which are more internal file reviews. Caroline, any questions on your side?
Not from my side, but does anybody else have any questions about the system and how that will work? Any comments even about what they're seeing and whether you have any concerns or you like it or anything? Everybody's very quiet.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't need to be a scary system. It's all about streamlining compliance. And thank you to Caroline for taking on board the SAMI system.
Sorry, can I just ask a question,
Yep,
please?
Sure.
John there, yep.
Yep. How do we upload our data? Is it manually uploaded into the system, like the I don't know, fact find, SOA, etc., or does it get picked up through our software?
At this time, so there are some integrations that can happen. They are costly though.
Okay.
At this point in time, we will work with you to upload those documents.
Sure.
So if we have access to your systems, we can download the documents and upload them from our end. We can get you to check that we've got everything, but we can manage that with you.
And one other thing, is there like a almost like a compliance checklist that you guys have to kind of cater to your audits? Historically, depending on which auditor you get, they find different things. It's almost like an AFL umpire. One will pay holding the ball and the next one will suspend you for 3 weeks for the same incident. So
if you see down that right-hand side where Samantha is, these are all of the question sets. Now, one thing that, SAMI has developed these question sets through the experience that they have, and they've got a lot of experience in compliance for AFS sales, a lot. The thing that really gave us some great comfort was that their checklists align very much to ours. There were maybe a couple of extra things that we do check through, particularly in terms of SMSFs and wholesale clients and risk, that we have a little bit more, but I was really comforted by the fact that they were quite similar. Our checklists are on our website for you to see, and they have been for a long time. So you can check there. We we separate our advice types as well. So we can select, or we have in the past, and we'll work with SAMI on this, whether it's a risk only client, and the checklists change slightly because of that, because you don't need to have your risk profiling, etc. If it's SMSF, we've been working with the team as well about those specific questions that we ask. If it's time critical, even, we've got those different elements and different checklists that we can deploy that really caters towards the advice situation.
Thank you. And I'll also show you if you are interested when you get your case review. So let me just pop to a pilot example again. All right, so when you're in your case screen, this is kind of similar to the look of how your case screen would look. You can scroll down to that question set area on your case screen. If you're interested in seeing all the questions, you just click the filter here to be all, and you'll actually have visibility of all the questions in any particular question set, whether it's a pre-vet one or an audit one. Or even an onboarding one. We've got all different types of questions, and it will be pre-filtered just to show where there's issues, comments, and actions. So when you log in, if there's red marks, if there's blue text, or if there's actions, like you can see here with the yellow checkbox, that will be the ones you need to focus on. So it's designed to be really efficient with your time. Let's say there's 3 questions, you'll just see those. But if you are interested, you can click on all to see all the questions behind the scenes that Caroline and CJ have went through.
And they're able to extract that as well and print it, aren't they? Especially if you want
Yes.
your staff to be looking at it.
Yeah, really good point. So see at the top screen here, you just press the print icon, which creates a PDF, a soft copy PDF. So here it'll be, and of course this has your Integrity logo on it. You just download the PDF and then you can save it as you wish.
I'll also send out a form today asking, so we can also assign some of your staff to be able to access the system too. So if it's more that you want your staff to be taking some of these actions, we can include them in this system, and they'll be able to see those elements. So I'll just send out a form today for you to fill in who you want to have access to the system as well.
Great. And we're more than happy to do training sessions. So, if it needs to be beyond the individual training, if you'd like your support staff or others to be involved in those sessions, then I'd encourage that, because that can be super helpful if they, need to understand how to assist with, uploading a complaint or working through the wizard. So, or just even logging in. So we just make sure they can log in. Okay.
Yeah.
With the logins, we do have 2-factor authentication to the mobile phones, but most clients prefer it to be switched over to authenticators. So we work with all the authenticators. Initially, we'll get you up and running on a mobile phone. We do that for security reasons, to make sure that everyone's a human with a phone and they're Australian based. If there is an offshore requirement, just let us know ahead of time and we can work with that. And then we switch you over to your preference of authenticator, Google, Microsoft. So I should say as well, unlike other systems, there is no need for you to share logins. So the whole point of data security and this system is that we give everybody access to the system in your group that you need. So there's no extra cost. So, for Caroline or team, we do it so that you know exactly who logs in from a data security and protection perspective, because as advisors, you don't necessarily, well, I know a lot of support staff do use their advisor logins, but you don't need to in this system. So that way you'll know that when you log in, it's your login. If there's any reason to look back, and we can have look back on any of your staffs, or you can have look back on any of your staff's changes as well. So really important that there's no barrier to getting logins. It's designed for your security and just good prudent management as well.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Nope.
Great.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Amanda.
No worries. Well, thank you so much. And Amanda, I think you might be one of the first, if I'm not wrong, to go through the system. So I look forward to having the session with you.
I know, right?
but like I say, you've seen
I
a
love
lot
being
today.
a guinea pig.
And I should say, every month our team puts out about 3 to 15 new feature improvements. So we get that from users like yourself. So at any point where you think it could be made a bit easier, better, once you're through the first 1 or 2 of these, because of course everything takes a little bit a bit of getting used to, but yeah, we really love the feedback. So again, any feedback for improvement, keep feeding it through to Caroline or CJ, and they meet with us quite regularly, and we'll make sure the system keeps getting better and better. This system was a clean sheet of paper. I used to manage 4,000 advisors about 8 years ago. This was a clean sheet of paper, and I needed a system like this. And now, 8 years later, we've got a system that is designed only from the feedback of clients like yourselves. So, yeah, help us make it.
And I can confirm
really
that that's not lip service. That's actually what they do. So we've already raised a few things, and they've deployed some changes to the system based on that feedback. So if there is any feedback, please let us know.
Awesome. And I like the question before about the different question sets. As Carolyn mentioned, if something is or isn't in scope, we automatically kind of truncate, I guess, the questions so that it only requires questions that are relevant for the scope and subject matter of the advice. So you're not, and Caroline isn't like going through hordes and hordes of questions that are not relevant.
And the great thing about the system, I might go into a little bit more detail. If you go into that file review, Samantha, with the checklists, when we're actually, so this is what we've spent a lot of time with Matthias at SAMI doing with mapping is when there's a question asked and you click on it, the system's automatically going through all of your documentation to go, is there something that meets, has these words, has this information in it that could possibly meet the requirement. And this is that whole machine learning with words and context. So we're able to hover over that. What that means is that there's less likely to be things that we miss unless the document's not uploaded. And it also means that there's less confusion. So just like you do with your clients, where you've spoken to 3 clients today and you get their stories a little mixed. I can't remember quite who had that situation going on. We get the same thing when we're reviewing 5 files a day or whatever that may be, and going, I saw it somewhere, and you go, oh, but that was the wrong file, it was somebody else's file. This removes a lot of that. What it doesn't remove is the manual oversight. Okay, so even though it can identify and say, hey, this scope could potentially, this document here potentially has that information about the scope, we still need to review it and go, yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. Even though it's got the words, it doesn't meet the requirement. So we still have that manual oversight, and it doesn't replace humans. And it's not saying as a machine, and this is why I liked this system over others that are available, is we internally are looking through that, and we know your practices, we know how you operate, so we're able to go, yeah, that does meet the requirement, and it's not an outsider, which we've had experience with, saying, oh, I think that it should be this way, so therefore I've said that you're not compliant because that's what I personally think. So that comes back to you, John, about that question that you had with compliance. And it's hard from a compliance perspective, because each client's circumstance changes as well, which then changes the approach in some elements. But this is meant to tie it all together and try to reduce a lot of that for you and bring more consistency for you.
Yep. No, sounds good.
Right.
Yes,
so,
I'm very excited.
Oh, thank you. Yes, so our guys do have a lot of like machine learning and AI stuff in the background, particularly around things like audio calls. So we do a lot of work for the large superannuation funds, where it's mainly kind of they're worried about general advice calls and that kind of thing. So, but this type of our focus is on comprehensive advice. That's where we serve the industry mainly. And because I've been in this industry for many decades, and so I just know it's so nuanced, right? So I wouldn't trust any machine, even my machine, to be able to correctly answer subjective and nuanced matters related to client circumstance. So that's why we've absolutely made this a very transparent system that enables the reviewers and yourselves to click through these relevant sections if you need to see where it's landing and to give us advice on where it should land. We can apply more machine learning and AI to it in future if you wish, but at the start of any arrangement like this is we keep it very focused on what's important to you and to Caroline, and you know, because humans are the experts, as we all know, but it helps make it more efficient to do what you need to do. So I think I've probably used up most of my time, Caroline, but I'm happy to take any other questions if there are. You can load up various links and audio files as well to these, so you know, different documents, image documents, PDFs. Where it's digitally readable, SAMI will digitally read it. Like, for example, it will digitally read that one, and it will digitally read the headings on these types of diagrams, but it'll not do too well sometimes with this type of diagram thing, or with handwriting. It'll just show the handwriting as an image.
Yep. Great. Thank you so much for that, Samantha. And I'm sure that, well, we know that we'll be engaging with you in the future as we go through the audits with everybody. I'm really excited about the system, and I think that this is something that we've will prove its worth very quickly.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yep, I'll send out that form, and then if you do have any questions, please send them through, put them on the form, or contact me directly and we can go through it with you. Fabulous.
Thanks so much. Great to meet you. Looking forward to doing your review, Amanda. Thanks for being the guinea pig. Ciao.
Thanks, guys.